Yoga requires strong hands. We need to spread our fingers as much as possible and press into the tops of the fingers and the base of the fingers. Here are 5 things that you can do to increase the strength of your hands for your yoga practice. Let's begin. Come to standing position. We'll clap our hands with our fingertips. One of my favorite yoga teachers always called these finger tip tops. As you take your fingertips together, see about clapping your fingertips, fingertip tops as he called them, and as you press, see if you can just get a little bit more strength. And you're going pretty fast. You're pressing the fingertips down as a way to increase circulation and strength of the fingers. Now let's work with a yoga pose to show how you can apply that. Number 1, the finger clap. You come to all fours position, but this time the hand is not flat. You're on those 10 fingertips. You're clawing the mat with your knees hip distance apart and your toes tucked under. Just draw back, but keep your elbows lifted. Just relax your head. Inhale, come up to all fours position. Look forward. Exhale, draw back. Keep your fingers pulling in toward your knees. Inhale, lift up. Keep pressing through the fingertips as you bear more weight on your fingers. Exhale, draw back. You want to go slow with these just to apply that finger clap that we did to allow us to just become a little bit more knowledgeable about our finger strength as you draw back. One more time. Inhale, draw forward. Exhale, keeping the arms, the wrists, the elbows lifted, draw back. Come to all fours position and step your right foot right between your hands. Keep your left hand down, twist, turn your heart toward the knee, and now as the left hand bears a little bit more weight, you get this nice engagement of the full arm. You can reach your right arm up if you wish. Maybe even take the right arm over your head. Release your hand down. Come to fingertip tops again. To come to all fours position, just draw back so that you can just bear just slightly less weight on the left hand. Come back and step your left foot right between your hands. Keep your right hand parked down and twist toward the inner knee. As you do, you just open up, you bear a little bit more weight on your right hand. As you lift your left arm up, you might want to reach it over with the fingers spread if that works for you. Keep the fingers that are on the floor very active so that you can apply this strengthening action. Release your hand down. Come back to either a kneeling position or a standing position. Spread your fingers. With your fingers spread, place the webbing of the fingers and just do a little action where you're pressing the webbing very firmly. And you don't have to go too fast, but this action just allows a little bit more stimulation and spread to the fingers. Some practices in yoga have your fingers close together, but in order to stimulate and strengthen the full length of the arm from the fingertips all the way to the armpits, by spreading the fingers, you can feel how engaged the arms get. So continue to do this, and there's probably one direction that you favor, but change it up a little bit so that you can just kind of work with your mind rather than the same movements. You can take one hand a little higher than the other and change that up. So after several repetitions, and these are pretty strong engagements here, as you stimulate the fingers through an interlaced webbing stimulation. You can release your hands, maybe even shake them out after that much hand work. Let's come to all fours position again. In all fours position, spread your fingers, look down at the fingers and see if you can get even more spread between each finger. Look at your wrist creases. They should be approximately parallel to the front edge of your mat. Tuck your toes under and lift yourself up to downward facing dog. Now that the hands are bearing weight, see if you can get the fingertips that we were doing in the fingertip clapping that we started with. Get the fingertips to really press down very fully. It's almost like a clawing action on your mat as you draw your pelvis back toward your heels so you get nice length there. Come toward a plank position, so draw forward. Now your hands are bearing more weight. Lower yourself slowly to the mat. Now come to the fingertips again. So as you claw the mat just with the fingertips, so the palms are not down, the palms are lifted, hug your elbows in and inhale, lift yourself just slightly. Exhale, come on down. 2 more times here. Press in through the fingertips, draw your elbows in toward each other. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, soften down. 1 more time. Using the strength of your fingers, just draw the heads of the arm bones back so the shoulders hug in toward one another. Exhale and soften down. Come through all fours position. Back to downward facing dog. Look forward, walk, step, or hop your way to the front of the mat with your hands to the low back. Inhale, lift yourself up. So especially in plank position, sometimes our wrists feel like they can't handle that much weight. So one thing that you can do to get more both strength and flexibility is to interlace your fingers again. And with interlaced fingers, make circles with your wrists about the height of your heart as you make circles in one direction. See if you can really get a full circumference of the circle that you're imagining that your fists are drawing. And now come to make big circles in the opposite direction. Get nice movement in your wrists. There are a lot of yoga poses that require us to bear a lot of weight on our hands, a lot of hand balance poses. So we want to give our wrists and our fingers and our arms, our shoulders, lots of attention so that we can align them properly when we come to the poses where the arms are weight bearing. There are a lot of practices where we work on this external rotation, and I'll give you the link in the description below. But an external rotation of the upper arm opens the palm, and you can open the upper chest through that external rotation. One way to engage more fully through this action would be to make a fist with your right hand and do that external rotation with the fist as you do the opposite action with your left hand. So the fist externally rotates as the left hand pulls in the opposite rotation. Let's do that several times. Right at the wrist crease, you take your palm around the wrist, externally rotate, pull in. You'll feel a little bit of heat, but that heat is allowing for more expansion in this area where a lot of us have a lot of tightness. External rotation, you're pulling in the skin, you're drawing the opposite action with the hand. Let's do that with the opposite arm. So first, just understand what externally rotating the arm feels like on its own. You're externally rotating a fist. And I like what they teach in Tai Chi. They often teach to take the thumb inside the fingers as a way to just kind of engage the fingers in a slightly different way. So externally rotate. Now with the right hand, you're doing the opposite movement. So the movements kind of compete with one another. And to see how this side might be slightly different than the other, just keep on doing this external rotation. And it starts to affect the elbow and the upper arm in a very positive way to help you open up the upper chest once you understand the external rotation. Now let's apply that in a yoga pose called Parsvakanasana. Come to a wide stance, so step wide. Turn your right toes out and look at the lineup of the right heel to the back arch before bending your knee. Take your right forearm down. Now do that same external rotation of the arm so that now your palm is facing up. From here, let's do the external rotation of the lifted arm. So take your arm up, and when you externally rotate, you draw your baby finger toward the floor, the thumb up toward the sky. And we've done all this work to spread the fingers, keep both the right hand and the left hand in this full expression by spreading the fingers fully. Root down through the back foot to inhale and lift yourself up out of the pose. My fingers are still spreading, so I've got this nice tone in the upper arms. Release your hands. Turn your right toes in, your left toes out. Look to check the lineup to refine it. Bend your front knee. As you park your left forearm to the top of the thigh, you're externally rotating the hand so that you get this nice openness. The head of the arm bone draws back. Reach your right arm up with nice spread to the fingers. Now draw the baby finger side down toward the earth as the thumb lifts up on this lifted hand. You get this nice fullness. Maybe you can even soften and bring your front thigh a little bit closer to the earth in the pose. Root down through the back leg to inhale and lift yourself out of the pose. Exhale, release your hands. Step your feet hip distance apart or heel toe your feet together. Perhaps you're familiar with that Chinese finger trap. That gives you an idea of what we're about to do. So with your right index finger, take your left hand, all your fingers around the right index finger. First, trap the finger, hug it tight, and then pull. Do that several more times. You pull the finger. Once you get this nice tight wrap around the finger, you pull. And now let's do that with the middle finger. You wrap the finger and you pull. You wrap the finger, you pull. One more, wrap the finger, pull. Ring finger, wrap the finger, pull. Two more, wrap it and pull. Wrap it and pull. And the baby finger, pull. And two more. And one more. And we forgot the thumb, so pull after wrapping and pulling. One more, wrap and pull. All right, so let's do that on the opposite side. So the right hand wraps the index finger to start with to pull. Two more. And just take your time with this, because each action you do just gives your fingers a lot more freedom. I'm on the ring finger now, just working each one very fully, the baby finger. And you may find that some fingers, they don't move as freely as the others. Some get a little arthritic. I'm on the thumb now. And two more. So what do we do with this action that we just did? Now our fingers are quite stimulated, so it allows for fullness of weight bearing and spreading of the fingers that we can do in our sun salutes. You may know that this is not the typical sequence that we do in yoga. We usually start our sequence in sun salutes, but now that our hands are so strong, it will be much more accessible to do these salutes. Our arms are strong, our fingers are spreading nicely, and we can bear weight more effectively because our wrists have got more freedom. Come to the front of your mat. Inhale, take your arms up. Exhale, take your arms down with bent knees. Place your hands on that fingertip top position before stepping your right leg back. Inhale, take your arms up, spread your fingers. Exhale, take your hands down. With flat palms, step back to downward facing dog. Still work the fingertips really nicely so that you've got this nice toning action in the muscles of the arms. Inhale, come to a plank position, or if that still doesn't work for you, just take your knees to the mat. As slowly as you can, lower yourself down. Come to fingertip tops again. Inhale, draw your heart forward. Exhale, soften. Come through all fours position to downward facing dog. Step your right foot right between your hands. Inhale, with fingers spread, reach your arms up, your gaze up, your hands back, your gaze back. Exhale, release your hands down. Step your back foot forward. Inhale, spread your wings to reach up and slightly back. Exhale, place your hands right in front of your heart in a prayer position. Let's do this on the left side now. Starting with your hands in front of your heart. Inhale and release your hands to the side. Reach up and back. Exhale, take your hands alongside your ankles. Step your left leg back. Inhale, take your arms up. Spread your fingers soulfully. Exhale, Take your hands down so that you can bear weight. Press the palms down. Come to a plank position. Lower yourself down. Inhale on fingertips. Press your toenails down. Press your fingertips down. Lift up. Exhale, soften. Come through all fours position to downward facing dog. Look forward. Step your left foot between your hands. Reach your arms up with fingers spread. Get this nice fullness in the action. Reach back. Exhale, release your hands down. Step your back foot forward. Spread your wings again to reach your arms up and back. Place your hands together right in front of your heart. Thank you for joining a practice where we focus on strengthening the hands to engage more fully so that we can take on yoga poses that involve a lot of strength in the hands. Namaste.